Today I'm going to be showing you how to make Huey, Dewey, and Louie. These are the nephews of Donald Duck, and I'm actually going to show you how to make Huey. If you want to make Dewey and Louie, you can do the same exact tutorial but change all of your red bands to blue bands for Dewey, and if you want to do Louie, then you'll change all of your red bands to green bands. Other than that, they are exactly the same as far as their design and their layout. In order to make Huey today, we are going to need about 60 yellow bands for the beak and the feet. For this design here, I actually used Rainbow Loom's new Mango Orange, although they are very tight bands. So for the tutorial itself, I'm actually going to be using the Neon Orange from Rainbow Loom like I did with my Donald. If you don't have either of those, you can use regular orange or even yellow. You'll also need about 50 white bands and 70 red bands. Again, if you're making Dewey, you'll need 70 blue bands, and if you're making Louie, then you would use 70 green bands in order to create him. I'm also going to be using 2 white pony beads for the eyes, and if you do not have those, then you can take a white band and make 4 loops on your hook in order to create him. So if you want to go ahead and collect your supplies, we will go ahead and get started. The first part that we are going to work on today is the top of the mouth, and we'll be using our neon orange bands for that. You're going to start on the top of the loom with a single neon orange coming down once on the left. Repeat that in the center with 1 band and a single on the right. We are then taking a single orange and we're going to double it, coming down once on the left, single double once on the right, and then another single double coming into the center peg, and another single double from the left to the center 4th peg. We're then going to fill in the center with a single double, and then finishing it off with another single double. And we are going to cap this, creating 4 loops. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Except mine wants to come back off. And we need to place some crossover bands. So on the second peg down from left to right, we're creating a triangle with a single orange band. And then from the 3rd peg left to right, including the center, we're going to create a triangle doing a single double. Just like that. Once the bands are in place, we can begin looping. You're going to go in under the capping band, grabbing the first single double band and bringing it forward, and you can go ahead and loop straight up the center. Go back into the capping band, grabbing the next 2, bringing those to the left, and the next 2 to the right. Once we've done that, we're going to grab a holding hook and we do not want to remove it from the top. We want to be able to remove from underneath, since this is the top of the bill itself. So we're going to go ahead and loosen all of this up. Take your hook and then just scoop from underneath your bands. If you look from the side, go from underneath. Do the same thing here, and then the same thing here. And this is the top of the mouth. Now we're going to go ahead and create the bottom portion of the mouth. We're using the same colored bands with a single at the top left of the loom coming down once, another single on the right, then switching to single doubles with your orange. So you're going to take a single double coming from the right second peg to the center third, and you're going to repeat that for the left side. Then taking another single double coming down from the second on the left to the second on, or the third on the right, third on the left, I'm sorry. So single double from second left pin to third left pin, and repeat that on the right side as well. Taking another single double from the third right pin to the center fourth pin, and repeating that on the left. And then taking one more single double and filling in the third center to the fourth center pin. We're then going to cap this one off, the fourth center pin, with 4 loops. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we need to place a couple crossover bands. We're going to take a single orange and double it, and you're going from the second left to the second right. This one is not a triangle, it's just straight across with a single double. And doing the same thing on the third left to the third right. Once those are in place, we can go ahead and loop this up. So you're going to go in under the capping band, grabbing the first 2 bands and bringing them forward. We're going to go ahead into this band, grabbing the first two bands and bringing them over to the left. And bringing this set over to the right. Now go back into your capping band, grabbing the first 2 bands, pulling them onto themselves. And we can go ahead and loop up this left-hand side. And because of all of the single doubles in this area, you'll have a lot of tension right here, so just stick your hook in and rotate it around to relieve some of that. And now we're going to do the same thing and pull up our right side. Once we've done that, we can go ahead and remove this one from the loom, and this one you'll be removing from the top. So you can just go ahead and loosen this up. Grab a holding hook. And remove that from the loom. And this is the bottom portion of the beak. Now we're going to go ahead and create his legs. I've already created one of them. I will show you how to make one, and then you'll just need to pause the video to make the second one. We're going to be using the orange bands again for that. You're going to start on the top center peg with a single orange and double it, and you're going to come down with single double 3 times. So 1, 2, 3. You're then going to take another single, double it, coming from the center 4th peg to the left 4th peg, and repeat that, a single double from the center 4th to the right 4th. We're then going to come down the left-hand side 2 times with a single doubled orange band. So that's 1 and 2. Repeat that on the right side. And then we're going to fill in the center with 2 orange bands, and we're going to come down twice. We then need to cap off these 3 bottom pegs. You're going to create 4 loops on the end of each one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 in the center, 1, or not. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. We need to place a crossover band, so coming down to the 5th peg on the left, you're going to take a single and double it and create a triangle from the 5th on the left, 5th in the center, and 5th on the right. So a single double, and it goes right here. Once you have done that, we can begin looping. We're going to start by looping our center first up to here. So go in through the center capping band and bring those first 2 bands up and bring the next 2 up and stop there. Then you can go in on the right, grabbing the single double bands and loop those up as well, stopping again on that 4th center peg, and then doing the left side as well. Once we have all of our bottom looped up, we can go in, grab the bottom, the single double, and just loop that straight up the center. And then to remove it, you want to loosen up all of these bands. And grab a holding hook and pull it off, and that creates the foot. So go ahead and pause the video if you need to, make a second foot, and then we can go ahead and move on. The next part that we will be creating is his arm, and I've already made one, so I will show you how to make one, and then you can just pause the video to make the second one. You're going to start at the top of the loom on the left with 2 red bands, and you're going to come down 4 times. You're then going to take 2 white bands, coming down once, and we're going to cap this off, creating 3 loops. You're then going to go in through the capping band and just loop straight up. Grab your holding hook, remove it, and then just set this aside for later. So if you need to, go ahead and pause the video, make a second one, and then we can continue on. We also need to create the top bill for his hat, and in order to do that, you're just going to take your red bands, and you need to use 2 bands coming down 4 times. And we're going to cap that off with 3 loops. And I actually saw this technique on a design made by Kate Schultz with Isalicious Designs for her Mario. It's how she made the bill for her Mario. So it is the same technique, and if you haven't seen her Mario bracelet tutorial, you should go check it out because it's really cute. And then just go ahead in and loop this straight up. Grab a holding hook and just set that aside for later. Now that we have our extra pieces, we can go ahead and begin the layout for Huey. So you're going to start at the top of your loom with your red bands, and this design will be all double bands unless I specify otherwise. So you're coming from the center peg to the left with 2 red bands, and you're going to repeat that going to the right. You're then going to come down the left-hand side with 2 bands twice. And repeat that on the right-hand side. And then also down the center twice. We're then switching over to our white bands. And you're going to come down the left-hand side 2 times with our white double bands. And then bringing that into the chin peg. Repeat that for the right-hand side. And then go ahead and fill in the center. Then for the neck, we will use 2 white bands, and we're going to switch back to our red, coming off of this neck peg with 2 red bands coming out to the left, and then also to the right. And then filling in the left side, we're coming down 3 times with 2 red bands. That's 1, 2, 3, and repeat that on the right. And then the same thing coming down the center 3 times. Then we're going to switch back to our white on the left, coming down once with 2 white bands, and then bringing it into the center. And then repeat that on the right with 2 white bands, and bringing that one into the center as well. And then we're going to fill in the rest of the center of the body. We will then want to start with the legs here, and in order to do the legs, those are going to be a single orange. You're going to double it, coming down on the left from the second peg from the bottom. So you're coming down once with a single double, and you're repeating that again to the bottom of the loom on the left. And then do the same thing for the right hand side, single double, and this is what you should have. Now we can go ahead and attach some of our pieces, and we're going to start with the feet. So go ahead and grab your feet, and you'll place those on these bottom 2 pegs. And his arms will go on the 2 shoulder pegs, one on the left, one on the right. We also needed to put his tail on, and in order to create the tail, you're going to grab a single white on your hook, create 3 loops, and you're going to do that again. Another single white, creating 3 loops. Then you're going to take another single white, we're going to double it, and you want to pull all of these bands on. Hook it back onto your hook and just pinch it together, and then down here at the base, so the second pin from the bottom, just go ahead and pull these 2 bands off, and we're going to pull the tail onto those 2 bands and replace this band with the tail facing down, so just like this, and just push the tail down so that it's pushed the poofy part is towards the bottom. We also need to attach our eyes, and to do that you'll take a single white, pinch it, and we're going to feed that through the center of our pony beads. And this will be placed on the third left peg to the third right. And we actually want to go through the center. See how there's a gap between this one band, and pull part of it down and hook it to the fourth center peg, just like that. We also want to place a capping band down here at the base, and you'll just create 3 loops. 1, 2, 3. And we need to place our crossover bands, so starting from the top with a single red on the second peg from the top left to right, creating a triangle with 1 single. Skipping this next peg, coming down here, creating another single on the 4th left to the 4th right, and repeating that again on the 5th left to the 5th right. Moving down to the body, you're going to skip the pegs with the arms, so 1 below, creating a triangle with a single red on the next one, switching to white with a single white, and 1 more on these bottom, the 3rd from the bottom peg, just like that. And this is what you should have. Now that all of our bands are in place and our crossovers, we can go ahead and begin some of the looping. So you're going to go down to the bottom, grabbing one of the feet, and the easiest way to do this so it doesn't slip off is just to pull back on the foot itself and grab the 2 bands, bringing those forward. And we're going to go ahead and loop that right up to the base of the body. Repeat that on the left-hand side. We are then going to go in under this capping band, grabbing the 2 bands, top 2 bands, and if you use your finger to hold the capping band down, because sometimes it'll slip loose, and we're going to bring this forward. And we're going to go ahead and just loop straight up the center of the body to the base of the neck. And we're going to go back down, go through the capping band again, grabbing your next 2, mine go to the right, and pulling them onto themselves. And then we'll go ahead and loop up the left, or the right side of the body, I'm sorry. And we're going to go back through that capping band and taking our last 2 bands to the left and looping up our left side. Once we're here, we're going to go through all of the red bands. We want to grab these bottom 2 whites and pull them forward. Then we're going to go in here, grab the top 2, bringing those up, go back in, grabbing the next 2 to the right, and the last 2 to the left. Once we've done that, we're going to stop here. You want to push all of these down through this area, and we're going to attach our beak. So first you're going to grab the bottom portion of the beak. You have 4 bands on the top, and 2 bands will be placed on this right peg. It's the 5th peg down from the top, and the other 2 will go on the left pin, 5th from the top, and you actually want to pull it underneath the center peg. So my 2 bands are going to go here. I'm going to pull this under the peg and attach my other 2 on the left, just like that. You then want to grab the top of your beak, and this one has 6 bands, so your 2 right bands will go on this right 5th peg, Your 2 center bands will go on the center 5th peg, and the 2 left bands will go on the left 5th peg. So my first 2 go here, and then my next 2 go on the center, last 2, if I don't lose them, or twist them, are going to go over on the left, just like that. And once we've done that, we can begin looping again. So we're going to go in through the center first, and I'm actually going to go ahead and loop my center. I want to go ahead and just loop that straight all the way to the top, because we have another attachment piece, but we need the center to be fully looped. Then going back in, I'm going to go down through all of these bands, making sure I'm only grabbing these bottom 2 white, and I'm only going to loop this up till I hit this first red band, so stopping on, just loop the 2 whites on the left, and I'm going to do the same thing, or I'm sorry, on the right, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the left. So grabbing only these bottom 2 white, and I'm looping them up twice. Push these down a little bit, grab your bill piece for your hat, and you're going to hook them from the 3rd left to the 3rd right pegs. So I'm going to take the top and hook this over here on the left. I'm going to take my hook through this triple capping band, all 3, and I'm going to hook this on the right side. Just like that, and now we can finish looping the rest. Oh, I missed a band. Once we're at the top, you're going to take a single red, and hooking through, and I'm going to create a slip knot. Just like that. And grab my hook, and we can go ahead and remove him. So starting at the bottom, just remove him from the loom. And once he is off the loom, just go ahead and push his eyes forward and straighten out the bill. If you take your finger inside the beak and then just push like this around the tip of your finger to give it more of a curve, and do the same thing, push down on the bottom, pulls it away from the eyes. Take his arms and just pull those out, and his legs. And I do not have my Sharpie with me, but in order to create his eyes, you're just going to push the bead forward like this, so you don't draw on these bands, and then draw your black dot here with the Sharpie for the pupil part of the eye, as you can see there. But that is how you create Huey. And as I said before, if you watch the video again, you can create Dewey and Louie just by switching the colors of the red to either blue or green. So I hope that you like him. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel to get updates when new videos are posted. And I hope that you enjoyed this.